And joining us again now to discuss food aid distribution efforts and other issues concerning drought displaced East Africans is Charity Tooze, Senior Communications Director for UNHCR here in Washington. Ms. Tooze, again, thank you so much for being back.
Thank you for having me.
If you could update us since your last visit here, what the UNHCR has been doing to provide relief.
So we have expanded our efforts. As you know, it's inside of Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya mainly. We've expanded our efforts in all three areas. We have probably 400,000 people that will be serving in Mogadishu by the end of August.
400,000?
Yes, which is a huge up ramp than what we had in the past. Kenya and Ethiopia, Dadaab has expanded, so we started bringing in families at the beginning of this week. There's 3,000 families. There'll be 90,000 by November in the new camp surrounding Dadaab.
Okay.
And in Ethiopia, there are more camps expanding as well. So our efforts have really been pushed forward, I think, since the last time you and I spoke.
And you also mentioned that you're providing schools, education to some of the children there.
I think that one thing that people forget is that children are completely uprooted in this type of situation. So in the Dadaab camp, they have built 3 schools and a health clinic, which I think is very positive.
We just heard out the WFP has received at least $250 million, even though there's still 250 outstanding. UNHCR has received only $59 million since its pledge for $136 million. You just launched another appeal yesterday for an additional $8.6 million.
Right.
Where do things stand in terms of how much money is coming in?
Exactly what you said. We are $86,000 short of the appeal that we made yesterday, so we continue to urge people to step up. We have, we're missing 45,000 tents. We still have 30,000 people that need to be registered surrounding Dadaab. And so it's very important for us to hit that mark. So we're continuing to push for the international community. We have pledges and some hard money, but we really need to hit that number.
Now, meanwhile, you're coming against a lot of criticism from the government and the transitional government in Somalia, which is saying that aid agencies are just not doing enough. In the event that this aid doesn't come in the way you expected, what are your limitations? What can you do within them?
I think that there's a misnomer in the sense that we're not doing enough in Somalia. We're doing everything that we possibly can. For instance, when the fighting broke out that you mentioned earlier on, aid agencies have to go into their bases when there's fighting. Now, the fighting wasn't necessarily over aid. It was between anti-government forces and government forces. But we can't deliver when fighting like that is happening, and that really is out of our hands. We have to keep our people safe, but inside I think it's incorrect to say that we're not doing everything that we possibly can, and obviously getting more aid is going to help us be able to do more.
And obviously, are there ways to kind of think outside the box, look outside the box for ways to penetrate areas like Somalia where people are in need, but even the government itself cannot reach?
Right. Well, we have 80 partners on the ground, and so there are partners such as the Red Cross and Muslim charities who have a little bit more access into certain areas, but there are still 2 million people in southern Somalia who very few organizations have any access to. And this is a political, complicated situation, and as a humanitarian organization, we don't have a solution to a political situation, but there needs to be a longer term, a much longer look at Somalia from a political level.
And coincidentally, as this crisis is happening in the Horn, the UNHCR is marking its 60th anniversary since the UN Convention. How are the challenges being met, and are they still manageable for UNHCR?
On one hand, it's unfortunate that we're marking our 60th anniversary because originally it was a temporary organization to meet the needs of post-World War II people who had migrated. And we really, the international community responds to the world's needs. And so over time, with all of the conflicts that have developed, we have continued our mandate. I think the challenge is going to be continuing to face the enormous amount of political crises and internal civil wars that displace people, and the natural disasters that are also displacing people, which is a different mandate that the international community has to respond to.
Okay. Well, we've run out of time, but thank you for coming.
Thank you
we know
for
that
having
next
me.
week you have this big first ever Refugee Congress.
Yes.
So we'll hope you'll be back again maybe to tell us more about that.
Thank you for
That's
having
Charity
me.
Tooze. She's the Senior Communications Director for UNHCR.